Afternoon. Not sure how the view is. I hope it looked good. It's nice outside. I just got off the road, and here we are. So today I got a couple things I'd like to talk about, just like every day. And I also have a couple of service announcements that I'd like to give you. But before I do those, let's ask the question: how's your week going? I mean, here we are, day 14, right, of our challenge, day 14. And yesterday I gave you a pretty good one to look at an area of your life that wasn't exactly perfect and see if you can map out a way to either create the situation that you want or change the situation that you're in. I guess that's both the same thing, isn't it? It really is. So I wonder how you did. I want to say this about that. A couple of people asked the question, isn't it kind of negative to look at the bad things? And yes, it could be a negative thing, or it could just be a way of evaluation, right? On the subject of being negative, which would be the opposite of positive, right? With the law of attraction, or even common sense, really, if you put your focus into negative things, those negative things are going to grow. That's just how it is. If you put your focus positively into changing something that isn't where you need it, that's a positive spin on it, right? So let's do this. Let's give you some examples that were given to me when I learned this lesson. If you are against war, let's see, if you're anti-war, you don't focus on anti-war rallies and and you be negative about that. You focus on the solution to anti-war. Now, what is it? I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy here, but you understand what I'm saying? If you're against a certain political candidate, you don't focus on trashing that political candidate and giving, because that candidate's energy will grow, right? So you focus on the opposition. If there's an opposition that you like, that's not just because it's against the person, don't do that stupid stuff, but find somebody that you agree with, that you can get behind, and then do it that way. So you're focusing on the positive, not the negative, right? If you don't like, I don't know, music or certain type of music, you don't bash that music and focus on that, because that will give that type of music energy to grow, and it takes up space in your life and in your heart that way. So you focus on the good stuff that you can do. I don't know, I just say it's silly, but so when you go back and you look in an area of your life that's not perfect, we're not focusing on the negative part of our life. Oh, I wish I could lose weight. I hate this. I hate it. And that gives that energy, right? If you focus on the positive steps that you're making, or the positive things that could come, or the positive people in your life, that grows. So looking at the area of your life that's not exactly perfect isn't a negative thing. It's a way of reflection. It's a way of honest evaluation. This was an analogy that I love. Again, pulling from Tony Robbins here, but he had a big impact on my life. A plane that takes off, from the United States, or from, let's say, California to Hawaii. Okay, it's going to go to Hawaii. I think he said it's off course about 80% of the time. How in the world does it ever land on that little island? Well, sensory acuity. It knows exactly where it's going. It knows what it looks like when it gets there. And as it takes off, and the wind changes, or certain things, it'll move it out of its path or off its course. You have sensory acuity to find out, are we off course? Yes, we're off course. Let's get back on course. And it moves it right back where it's going. Well, it's not negative. Oh my God, we're off course. We're going to crash into the ocean. No. Hey, look, we've moved a little bit this way. Let's get back online this way. And then there's always the old adage too, that along the way to somewhere that we want to be, we end up somewhere we need to be. Okay. So maybe the goal that you set, and you have, this is where I should be, and this is where I am, and I can't get there. So my life conditions don't match my blueprint, and I'm unhappy. Or have we gotten to a point? Let me ask you this. Have you ever been by a place in your life, not just a physical location, but a time in your life, and you move past it toward the goal that you thought you should be working for? And you get there and you look back and go, man, I should have stayed where it was. Or remember how great that was? And you blew right past it, right? Well, as long as you can remember the trail, you can always come back. Always come back. Backwards is not always a bad thing. Okay, so being positive. Did you see the post I posted from Deb, the picture? That was a pretty good definition of it, Deb. Thank you very much. So one of the things I said I was going to ask you a couple of days ago, I'll throw at you today on Sunday. Happy Sunday, by the way. It's the first day of the week. Let's get started, right? So, I've asked my students this before. I may have already asked you this question. How is it that certain people in life find themselves in a bad situation, whether it's financial, relationship, psychological, educational, employment, whatever it is, they find themselves in a bad place, and they blame it on their past. They blame it on the way they were brought up, or their parents, or where they lived, or their socioeconomical class, or something. They blame it on that. The color of their shirt. They blame it on something, all right? Why is it that people with similar backgrounds, we've all had trials and tribulations in our background. We all have. Trust me, I've talked to 1,000 people, and everybody's got a story. There are a lot of people that will say, no, my childhood was fantastic. Great, because that's how they remember it. They were lucky, or they just spun it in a positive manner. Bless your heart. There might be, I don't know, there might be people I've never met that are just, had a fantastic childhood. I don't know. I look back at my childhood and know that my parents did the very best they could at the time and with what they had. I lost my dad at 9. Bless my mom's heart, she had 4 kids, and young kids. I was 9 and I was the oldest. She did what she could. She surrounded herself with her family. Her family picked up the pace where she couldn't. She married an incredible man, Rod Rogers, Julius, my stepdad, who, bless his heart, had 3 kids of his own. It made 7, right? So in my childhood, you could say there were some times when they probably couldn't give all of us all the attention that we needed. I'll tell you what, though, I had a pretty good childhood. I had great friends, great uncles, great aunts, cousins, people that just, it was fantastic. At the time, I might have thought, oh, this is terrible. And, oh, look at all the fighting that's going on. But as I look back, I could blame all of that stuff on all the little hardships I've had, or look at it and go, no, it was fantastic, and push forward. I can honestly tell you this, there were people in my life when I was younger, and this is kind of, I jumped ahead of the game, but here we go, right? That made me look at them and go, I don't want to be that way. That is, and even as a young age, you just know, but had I not met the ones that showed me who I wanted to be, and they didn't come out and go, hey, look, boy, this is how you want to be. No, they just by actions. You look at them, you look at where you're at, and you go, how come they're so much different than this? And I think I want to do that, right? So what it boils down to, we think, you tell me if we're wrong or if you got a different idea, people that grow up with similar hardships, some grow to excel and succeed, and others let it hold them down and pound them into the ground, and they blame everything on it. What we think the difference might be is that one person or 2 people that you've met along the path that turned your head and showed you a better, and it may have been a cartoon character. I don't know, maybe you looked at Bugs Bunny like I did and went, that's what I want to do. I want to be Bugs Bunny. Whatever it is, right? Bugs is one of my heroes for sure. You watch a bunch of Elvis Presley movies and go, hey, now that's pretty cool. Let's try that, whatever. John Wayne, I've got a lot of them. So, and some real people too. Okay? Not that John Wayne wasn't real or Elvis wasn't real, but I digress. I'm sorry. So the question was, and if you got something else to share with me about it, I'd love to hear it. How is it that people that have the similar destructive backgrounds, or potentially destructive backgrounds, or hardships, being a parent myself, I can't wait to hear what my kids grow up and talk about. I mean, it's going to be, I already hear some of it. I'll tell you what, you'd think that all 4 or 7 of them grew up in different houses, but they didn't, and I love it. But so how do some people rise to the occasion and excel and do great things, and others just let it smash them down? And how can we help these people? Well, I can tell you one way, right? Remember a couple of days ago, I said, go to the person that made a difference in your life and tell them thank you. Be that person. Be that person. Walk around and be that person. Be yourself. Don't be, don't be fake about it. You could pretend to be Bugs Bunny if you want to, but if you're not really the Bugs Bunny type, I don't want you running around and being Bugs Bunny. Okay, so be sincere, be yourself, and be that person that helps people rise above it. How's that? That's pretty cool, right? Okay, let's get on to the public service announcements. I'm sorry, I got to do this, okay? Number one, my reticular activating system kicked in. I'm going live every day with you guys. I love it. So I noticed there's a whole bunch of people going live now. Now, I had noticed a few before, and I love to jump on and watch what they're talking about, especially from martial artists. This is a wonderful tool, right? Around the world, you can see what people are doing. So a friend of mine, distant friend, but he's a friend. I consider him a friend, jumped online the other day, and I thought, well, he's been on before with some cool stuff. I want to know what he has to say. And I turned it on and watched it for about a minute. And in the background, it was just him driving. He just turned it on and started driving. I thought, well, I wonder if there's something cool he's looking at, or if there's something important going on down the road, because he's an upstanding member of the community. What are we doing? And then somebody in the passenger seat say, really? People don't have anything better to do than to watch you go live and drive. And I thought, So the positive spin on that negative little push there is I will never tune into his live channel again. I won't. He's lost my trust. So my promise to you and my hope for this is that I never waste your time. If I go live, I make you this promise. It's going to be for this type of a thing, a challenge, and hopefully I've got something beneficial to say or share, or something I've learned. I'll try my best, okay, every time. I'll never breach your trust with that kind of stupidity. I promise you. And if I go live on my martial arts channel, which I will, Monday nights, usually, sometimes Wednesday we can go. Sorry, B, I didn't know that was you. I'll talk about martial arts, okay? So Monday, Wednesday nights will be martial arts. The mornings, if we're having a challenge, we'll do this. I'm not sure what it'll turn into after, but I promise I will never waste your time. Public service announcement number one. Public service announcement number two. If you live in the Traverse City area or you travel through our area, Cedar Run Road is not a freaking highway. Slow your butt down. The speed limit's 45. It's rural residential. Look it up, Michigan. Rural residential. There are at least 8 to 12 bus stops between the hospital and out toward this curve over here. I know school's not in session, but those kids still live there. And if I catch you speeding down that road and you're behind me, you bet your butt I will come to a complete stop and we will have a chat. I'm not going to be mean. I just want you to slow down and be careful. Is that okay? Cedar Run Road is not a highway. It's rural residential, people. And I'm sure there's others of you out there that live in similar places that people exceed the speed limit. Please slow down and be careful. All right. How is that a positive thing? It's going to save your life. It's going to save somebody else's life. I love you. Tune in tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is Monday, so it'll probably be an early morning for me. If I don't catch you when you're waking up, I'll catch you when you go to bed or something. That sounds kind of creepy, doesn't it? I'm sorry. Day 14, be positive. What we talked about was just kind of a rehash of yesterday. Did you go look at something in your life and change it? I love that. I saw some definitions. I see a lot of you online here. Very cool. Reach out to me. Talk to me. Tell me how this is helping. Tell me how it's not helping. Talk about something you want to hear. And my question today was to review, what do you think the difference is between the people that have similar potentially crushing backgrounds? Some people rise to the occasion and other people let it bring them down. The better question that I came up with while I was talking is, how can we help those people? And then the answer popped through my head, be that person that makes the difference, right? So today, go out and be that person. And then I mentioned Bugs Bunny's kind of cool, right? So be Bugs Bunny. Be sincere. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you in the morning. Until then, peace.